It's Monday morning and I'm filming this video in my apartment in LA. It feels really good to be back. I've got caffeine, no makeup on, and I'm really about it, and I love coffee. And this weekend I went to an award show that my friend was presenting at called the Streamies, and it was really interesting and just a really interesting vibe. And one of my friends pointed out to me, like, you're not really networking, and I'm so good at networking. And she was like, why did you not network? And I was like, I gotta be honest, that whole group of YouTubers and like Instagrammers and whatever, not really my type of people. They're very like cliquey, not all of them, but a lot of them are very like cliquey and kind of self-centered and not really open to like talking or like being nice. And I'm a little nicer sometimes, I think. So I feel like I didn't network as much, but that's okay. Today I wanted to talk about something that a lot of you reach out to me about, and a lot of emails and messages that I get are relating to entrepreneurship, or they're relating to any advice that I have for aspiring entrepreneurs. So last night I went to Santa Monica and I was thinking on my drive home about this and how to answer this question, what my advice is for aspiring entrepreneurs. And when I go and do different college talks or school talks, I always bring this up and give my advice during any talk, because that's what most people want to know, is either what and how to get over their fear of starting and the fear of like rejection or the fear of not being successful, as well as advice for when the company starts or whatever your company is that you're trying to create. So I have one piece of advice. I have a lot of pieces of advice, but I didn't want to give you a normal piece of advice or a piece of advice that you've probably read in like Entrepreneurship magazine that's like, you know, be happy or find what you love or find your passion. So I wanted to gear my advice towards something that I talk to a lot of other successful entrepreneurs about that I know makes a huge impact in your life, and I've realized makes a huge impact in my life. And that is surrounding yourself with people who bring you up and not bring you down. I'm only 21 years old, so I've had a lot of friends. I've had a lot of people that were not in my life for the right reason, or were using me, or people that I've just decided to cut out of my life over the past probably 2 years. And growing up, I always had a difficult time doing that, because I always try and really see the good in somebody. So I would always stay friends with somebody, even if I knew that they weren't really nice or they weren't doing just the right gestures and moves and whatnot. And I would kind of keep them in my life because I was like, you know, whatever, and how can I help them, and like maybe they're going through something and whatnot. And I've gotten to a point, and especially in my career, where I'm like, I don't have the time for that. I would rather have 0 friends than have 10 fake friends or 10 people that I don't really like to have around me in my life just to say I have a lot of friends. I also think that the less friends you can have, but the more people that you can know. So if you have like one really good solid friend, you don't need to have a million people you can call in the middle of the night if something goes wrong. You only need one person who's gonna come and pick you up or whatever. And if you're starting a business, surrounding yourself with people who understand that, and understand that you might be traveling, or you might have you know, a work event or something you have to do and put hours into that's not a normal 9-to-5 job. And if you have strong, supportive people around you, they're gonna understand that from the beginning, and you're not gonna have to worry about what they're gonna be thinking or what's gonna be happening and whatever. So I would say that's my #1 piece of advice. Surround yourself with incredibly positive people. And if you don't think that anyone's bringing value or happiness or kindness to your life, then remove them from your life. And that's really simple, by just distancing yourself or not continuing to hang out with them. And I've really noticed a huge difference in myself when I've been so strategic with the people that I place around me, because I like to have people who really lift me up. And so if you have those people around you, you'll notice such a huge difference in your personality and just your perspective. And also, it's so nice as an entrepreneur when you have somebody to turn to when something's happening or when something's going wrong. Like I had a situation where I was deciding whether to hire somebody last week, and I called one of my friends who's a really successful entrepreneur who I've actually had on my podcast podcast, and I texted her, just expecting her to reply in a text message. She picked up the phone, she called me, she was like, you know, how can I help? What advice do you need? And that I realized was so huge and very rare to come across, because everyone's on their phones, everyone's doing a million different things at once, entrepreneur or not. But if you have certain people around you who like pick up the phone or, you know, take you out for a birthday lunch and treat you, those are the kind of people you want to have around you. And when you're an entrepreneur, keep that in mind, because everyone you come into contact with is gonna, if they're gonna become your friend, then they're gonna have to understand that about your business and what you're trying to create. So that's my number one piece of advice. And my second piece of advice, that's not necessarily a piece of advice, but it's more so when I get the question of how do you get over that initial, how do I start? How do I start? Or I want to start this, but I'm scared. Sit down alone, light a candle, get a notebook out, and write where you want to see yourself in 5 years. And if you think that this company, this idea is gonna help you see yourself in 5 years, and if you don't know, I think that universally, everyone would like to see themselves in 5 years in a nice house, with a nice car, with good friends. This is all pretty superficial stuff, right? But your goals and your dreams that's how you're gonna get to whatever that place is. And if you sit down and you write that, like even you wanna be in a really good relationship, whatever your job is or whatever you're trying to create, you might be needing to go to events for that kind of stuff and getting out, and that's how you're gonna meet that person. So sit down alone and write that stuff out. And then the first step, maybe call your friend, get some advice. If you're starting a consumer company, then you're gonna need customers. So you're gonna need to get some advice from a ton of different people. If it's whether you're starting a blog or like an Instagram page or something, that is so not something you need to even think twice about. And like I started a fashion blog and now I'm not even into fashion. So if you want to start a blog and you have an idea for a blog, then just start writing. Start writing your personal stuff. Maybe go out and interview somebody on the street, buy a camera. Like there's so many ways to start. Just don't overthink it too much. Do not think about anything for the money or the fame or the success. Just think of it, you're doing it because you either want to help somebody, which I hope is why people start things, or because you really like this idea. And if you really like it and you really believe in yourself, then it goes back to the first step. Everyone who's around you who also believes in you, the really positive people that you're gonna eventually have in your life, are all gonna be there to support you along the way. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some advice for you aspiring entrepreneurs out there. I believe in you, and you only need one person technically to believe in you. So yeah, all right guys, subscribe to the channel, give this a thumbs up, and make sure to check out my Instagram as well, because I've been posting some new stuff on Instagram TV there, so you might enjoy watching that as well. Mwah!